Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, verses 21 to 25.
Veda vinashinam nityam yaenamajamayam katam sapurushah partha kam ghatayati hantikam vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grinhati naroparani तथा शरीरानि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापः न शोषयति मारुतः अच्छेद्योऽयमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्ताणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः अव्यक्तोऽयमचिन्त्योऽयम् अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि.
Last class, we had studied verse number 22 of this chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, verse number 22, I said, is also one of the most often quoted shlokas. It talks about the reincarnation. So it says, just as a man casting off worn out garments puts on new ones, so the embodied casting off worn out bodies enters new ones. So, first of all, he is comparing our physical body to a vesture, a cloth. So, he says, when the cloth is worn out, the wearer throws it. Similarly, this body, which is the cloth, worn by us meaning the combination of subtle body, causal body, and lived by the Atman, which is what he calls as embodied in the context in this shloka. That is why the word embodied here in this shloka, if you see, is with small e in the translation of Swamiji's book. If you have Swamiji's book, in Swamiji's book, the embodied is in small letter e, So it is referring to the combination, the jiva, which is the subtle body, causal body, enlivened by the Atma. That is the wearer. So basically, you can say the thoughts are the wearer. Subtle body, along with the causal body, enlivened by the Atma, is called the embodied, which is the wearer, who casts off the worn out garments and takes up new garments. Worn out bodies are given up and new bodies are taken up. The sense is talking about in plural to say that it continues. So in other words, we should be very clear with reference to the basics. Every human being is made up of a physical body, a mind, intellect. Every human being is made up of a physical body, mind, and intellect enlivened by Atma. The basics is every human being is made up of a physical body, mind, intellect, enlivened by the pure consciousness or Atma. Physical body is the gross body, mind and intellect are the subtle bodies, and vasanas are called the causal body. So, gross body, subtle body, causal body, enlivened by pure consciousness, Atma. This is you, this is me, this is all of us. So, here he is comparing the physical body to a garment, and the wearer to the subtle body and causal body, enlivened by the Atma. And the pure consciousness per se is not the wearer. Please understand this. Don't confuse yourself. It's not the embodied here. It's the combination, the jiva, the individual, is the wearer, which is nothing but bundle of thoughts. So, what he's saying is, when a person dies, what do you see there? The physical body is very much there. And pure consciousness, being all-pervading, is also there, should be there. Then what is moved? Obviously, the subtle body along with the causal body has moved from this gross body to another gross body. It takes up at the right time. And since consciousness is all-pervading, it enlivens that combination, whichever it takes up, the physical body that it takes up in the new context, it will enliven that also. Okay. So therefore, in one of the classes, we defined death from the Vedantic view is what? Death is nothing but transference of subtle body along with causal body from one gross body to another in the medium of consciousness, in the medium of pure consciousness. So when you identify yourself with the pure consciousness, it has neither birth nor death. Now when you identify yourself with this jiva, the individual, the combination of subtle body and causal body, then also there is no problem. Why? Because it gives up this body and takes up new one. It continues. And it gives up this body because it is no more conducive for it to express itself. So I gave two examples. You go to work in the morning, your house is air conditioned, your car is air conditioned, your office is air conditioned, you are throughout traveling in air conditioned environment. So you're wearing a particular set of clothes at 9 o'clock in the morning and going to work. You come back maybe around 6 o'clock or so. So you own it for so many hours. Then only you find it, okay, I own it for the whole day. Now let me throw it for wash. And then you wear your shorts and t-shirt and maybe go to play tennis. You go to play tennis around 7 o'clock. You come back home around 8:30 and you find that set of clothes, your shorts and t-shirt, is worn out within 1.5 hours. One was okay to wear it for almost 10 hours. Whereas another one, within 1.5 hours, you threw it. And you wore another one after you showered. So, why you saw, according to you, this set of clothes is no more conducive for me to wear anymore. So you changed it. Similarly, when your thoughts change, see, throughout the day when we are living, we are constantly transacting with the world. So there are a lot of thoughts that are, manifesting, and maybe we are creating new thoughts, or maybe we are intensifying certain thoughts which are there already in us. So all these thoughts put together demand a particular environment, particular body. Now, if this existing body is no more conducive, then it gives up that body and takes up new one. So we gave the example from the science, the law of parallelogram of forces. An object is kept at point O, and in x direction there is 50 Newton force given, in y direction 50 Newton force given. Since the forces are equal and the object is at point O, it moves neither in x nor in y direction. It moves in z direction. This is called resultant force, since the forces are equal. Supposing you give 1000 Newton force in x direction and only 1 Newton force or 2 Newton force in y direction. The object will move closer to x because that side is more strong and powerful. So similarly, we are not just having one thought. That's why we say As you think, so shall you become. If it's one thought, that will manifest. But since it's a lot of thoughts, bundle of thoughts, some are strong, some are weak, but all put together, our direction in life is given by our own thoughts, determined by our own thoughts. And when it finds this body, this environment is no more conducive, gives up that body and takes up a new one. So it can happen at the age of 3, it can happen at the age of 30, it can happen at the age of 80. We never know. You understand? So this is the explanation given in Vedanta. So it says, just as a man casting off worn out garments puts on new ones, so the embodied casting off worn out bodies enters new ones. So you are deciding. That's the point. You are deciding. The sense, your thoughts are deciding. So that's why we said in last class that rather than sitting and worrying about what others think about you, you start taking stock of what kind of thoughts are you encouraging. Throughout the day, what kind of thoughts are you indulging in, encouraging in, strengthening? Because that's going to influence your resultant. Without understanding this, we blame the stars, we say Rahu, Ketu, etc. It's the thoughts that determine our life. That's why we say, thy destiny in thy hands. Your destiny is in your hands, meaning your actions, your thoughts. So therefore, please take stock of your thoughts. Develop consciously positive thoughts. Don't identify with any negative thoughts. So it's imperative that each one of us to live like this, maintain good satsang, good company. It's very important that we maintain good company. That's why in Bhagavad he says, Satsangatve nissangatva, nissangatve nirmohatva, nirmohatve nishalatattvam, nishalatve chidanam. So you got to make sure that you maintain satsang, good company at all levels. Not just people. What you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, what kind of books you read, what kind of food you take in. So that's the discipline that one has to maintain, along with studying the scriptures, being in close proximity with the Guru and the Shastra. You slowly develop positive thoughts. Then you further move to coming to single thought, focusing on Atma. So then as you start thinking about Atma, as you think, so shall you become. Finally, you become Atma. You realize the self. This is the idea. So therefore, from the consciousness point of view, there is no birth, there is no death. From the Jiva point of view, that is come to existence, also no confusion, no problem, because it continues. So then where is the problem? Why are you sitting and grieving? The wise people know this. They have this knowledge. Since they have this knowledge, they are not grieving. In fact, it is good for that person who's given up the body and taken up new one. It is good. That's why you throw the old body. Like you throw the old shirt and wear the new one. It's good for that person. Yes, of course. The company of that person has brought in a lot of memories, good experiences, a lot of deep emotions are there. All that is there. So you feel that sorrow. It is normal. In fact, that should be there if you're a human being. But that should not go so bad that it takes you to the level of grief. You understand? You move on. Let them also move on. In fact, even in life, forget about death and all that. With reference to children also. Children go to college to study abroad, maybe even within India, somewhere else, some other city they go. But you have your own obligations to continue, but you refuse to move. You're so attached. Similarly, after that, after when they get, married, they have their own children, they have their own life to lead. Why should you be attached and allow your life to be dragged? This is the problem. So when you gain this knowledge, all that it does is it gives you the right perspective and takes away that attachment, or reduces the intensity of attachment slowly, slowly, slowly. Then you will have emotions, but you will not be completely overpowered by your emotions, which is what happened to Arjuna. And therefore, Sri Krishna is teaching all this to make Arjuna understand. And through Arjuna, make all of us understand. Now let's get on to next shloka, shloka number 23.
नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापः न शोषयति मारुतः
Na enam chintanti shastrani. Shastrani means weapons. Weapons do not cleave this. This is with capital T. If you have Swamiji's book, please see the translation. The word this is given in capital T. It refers to Atma. So he says, weapons do not cleave this. Weapons means earth in the context. Fire, nor fire burns this, nor the element fire burns the Atma, this, nor water wets this, nor water has any control over the Atma. It cannot wet the Atma, nor wind dries the Atma. He's not mentioned space, but you should add it also. Now, this physical body is nothing but what? Made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space. And all these 5 elements, even the subtle body is made up of 5 fundamental elements. So these elements are gross compared to Atma. When you say subtle and gross, when you talk about subtlety, mainly 2 things we need to understand. Subtlety means something that is more pervasive and something that has control over the other, which is less pervasive, which we call as gross. So subtle controls the gross and not the other way around. Gross cannot control the subtle. It is the subtle that controls the gross. So he says, weapons do not cleave me. Fire does not burn me. This means me, Atma. Nor water wets this. You replace the word this with me. Nor wind dries me, obviously. So none of these elements can have any effect upon me, truly speaking, because all these are gross. They are not subtle compared to the Atma. Isn't it? Atma is subtle. In fact, space is more pervasive than all the 4 elements. He's not mentioned space. So when you read this shloka, you may misunderstand that maybe space can have some control over the Atma. Nothing like that. That he clarifies, because the same verse is almost repeated in the next shloka, but he clarifies further. So he says, this Atma is the subtlest. It is most pervasive compared to anything else. So these elements which are gross, in fact these 4 elements that is mentioned is gross compared to space. Space pervades all these elements and it is even beyond them. So they cannot do anything to space itself. And when they cannot do anything to space, how can they do anything to Atma? So here we are, not knowing this truth, we are concerned about our security, worried, preoccupied, highly insecure, most of the time, because we have identified with this limited ego, due to ignorance. Now, obviously, this body can be affected. So therefore, since we have identified, we are suffering. That's what he wants to teach us. Through this knowledge, what are you supposed to do? Not just get this information and continue with your life like you used to do before. After you get this information, when you reflect, your attachment stops. Mental attachment with this. So we are constantly insecure. Why? Because we are identifying with this body. Obviously, weapons can do something to this body. Fire can burn this body. Water can wet this body. Wind can dry it. So we are scared, terrified. See, the physical body, you do what you want, is perishable. You can do nothing about it. Okay. The maximum prolong it a little bit here and there. That's all. But it is perishable. And Atma is imperishable. It is indestructible. You are indestructible. That's what he wants to say. Weapons do not cleave me, fire does not burn me means what? You are indestructible. None of this can do any harm to you. But not knowing this, you think you are harmed by all this. This is the stupidity, insecure. And then you try to protect yourself with all these things. Because whatever you put in effort, you are only getting something that is made out of elements. Isn't it? The permutation, combination of elements. And then you try to protect yourself with house, with the car, with a lot more money, all that. You're trying to protect. What you're trying to protect? This ego. Ego cannot be protected. At the same time, Atma need not be protected. It needs no protection. You understand? So there is no point wasting your time in trying to protect. Simply live your life. All of us are living in our heads. We are not living our life. Most of our time is gone, simply consumed by our mind, going on living in our heads. So therefore he says, please understand, none of this can do anything to you. See, there is a quotation given by Swamiji in the book, in the commentary of the shloka. It says, stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage. So you can only arrest a person's physical personality. When you put the person inside the prison, you cannot arrest his thoughts. During freedom struggle, when they arrested a lot of these great people who fought for our Indian freedom, they started writing letters from inside. And that was stirring up a lot more people to come to freedom movement. So you cannot arrest their thoughts. So they didn't know whether to put them in jail or keep them outside. Because the stone is grosser compared to your thoughts. It cannot arrest your thoughts. Similarly, when you come to Atma, what can control Atma? What can restrict Atma? What can destroy Atma? What can destroy you? Is there anything that can destroy you? There is nothing that can destroy you. Out of stupidity, we are trying to find something that will not destroy us. Because we are identifying with this ego complex. See, in the Puranic story, Hiranyakashipu, there was this guy called Hiranyakashipu. He did a lot of tapas and he got boon from the Lord. What? That I cannot be killed during the day, during the night. I cannot be killed outside, I cannot be killed inside. I cannot be killed up nor down. I cannot be killed with this, human being or animals, etc., etc., etc. He thought all permutation combination, and then he thought, having got that boon from the Lord, he is now completely protected. And then he got so egoistic that, there is no God, nothing, I am God. And everybody is supposed to say, this fellow is God, not Narayana. His own son, Prahlada, was a great bhakta of Lord Narayana. So he used to always say, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana. So he got so fed up. He tried to kill him, he could not. He tried always, he could not. So one day he got fed up and he said, hey, what is this? All the time you're saying Narayana, Narayana. There is no Narayana, I am God, man. If there is Narayana, show me where he is. There is everywhere. Acha, everywhere. Is he there in this pillar? Of course he is inside this pillar. So he broke the pillar and from inside Lord Narasimha came. And he tore open Hiranyakashipu. That's what the story says. Lord Narasimha is neither a man nor an animal. He came during 6 o'clock time, neither day nor night. He took him to the threshold, neither out nor in. He kept him on his, he lifted his thighs and kept him on his thighs and tore him open with his nails. Neither up nor down, etc., etc. So the story, what is it telling? You try to protect this ego, this limited individuality as much as you want. You cannot. But there is nothing to be protected as far as the Atma is concerned. So your way you're living, everything is bent on this one. See, when we lead our life, we should live our life in such a way that because whatever we have is to be used for our life here. And we lead a life in such a way that maybe there is spillover. You don't have to live like a miserly person nor like a spendthrift. You just lead life, have a goal, purpose in life, pursue that, and have things which will help you to proceed towards that goal. Then there will be automatically maybe things that are surplus which automatically gets saved, not that you want to save. So the moment this thought of saving, future, all this comes, what does it show? It shows that we are still identified with this ego, which is in no way can be protected. You try whatever you want. So don't waste your time. So, since, when you understand that this Atma, that is me, needs no security, because it's neither born nor dies. It's just expressed in this particular personality. What has to be done, I do get on in my life. Then you live your life totally. That's the idea. So now, in this shloka, you may, because you've been talking about Atma, Atma, Atma. What is this Atma? So can it be space? Because we are sometimes, too much trying to capture that Atma somehow in our buddhi. Using our buddhi, we somehow want to capture that Atma. So, can it be this? Oh, he's not mentioned space here. Can it be space? The doubt comes, should come. Because he says, weapons do not cleave, nor fire, nor. Then all this does not do anything to space also. Then can it mean space? He is giving another shloka to clarify that, saying it is not space. And another doubt may come, which is, can it be vasanas? That is me. No, you are not even the bundle of vasanas. Neither space nor vasanas. Your Atma, which is beyond these two. That is spoken about in the next shloka. Let's get on to next shloka.
अच्छेद्योऽयमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्ताणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः.
This cannot be cut by the weapons, obviously. This cannot be cut. Same shloka, he puts it in a different way, that's all. This cannot be cut. This Atma, I, the real self, cannot be cut, nor burnt by fire, nor wetted by water, nor dried by air. And then he gives few more pointers. This is Nitya, eternal. This is Sarvagata, all-pervading. This is Tanuhu, stable. Achalaha, immovable. Sanatanaha, ancient. Eternal, all-pervading, stable, immovable, ancient. He gives few pointers to make us not come to any wrong conclusion, to make us think and come to the right conclusion. So he's repeating what he said in the previous shloka. So then he says, this is eternal. This Atma that we are talking about is something that is eternal, all-pervading. Now, space. Is space all-pervading? Of course. It is all-pervading from the waking state point of view. In this particular state, space is there. In dream also, space is there. The moment you come to deep sleep, in deep sleep, you have the concept of time and space. When you are in deep sleep, your mind is not there. You do not have the concept of time and space there. But in deep sleep, are there vasanas? In deep sleep, are there vasanas? Of course it is there. If you're a mathematician, the mathematical vasanas are there in deep sleep. If you're a musician, the musician's vasanas are there in deep sleep. That's why when you wake up as a musician or a mathematician. You don't suddenly wake up as a cricketer. A sports person with those vasanas wakes up like that. So in deep sleep, vasanas are there. Vasanas are even subtler than space. So then could it be space? Could it be space? That doubt comes. So first of all, we have seen these pointers before. Nitya, so I'm not talking too much about Nitya means eternal. It is always existing. The Atma is always existing. So vasanas are also there now. Space is also there. And Atma is also there. But space doesn't exist in deep sleep. Vasanas exist. Atma exists. So space is eliminated. That is not Atma. Then what else? Can it be vasanas? So read these pointers carefully. One is Nitya, which means eternal. All these time, space, causation, they're all concepts of intellect. But the self is not a concept of intellect. It is beyond intellect. Vasanas are also beyond intellect. Atma is also beyond intellect. So then he says Sarvagataha. It is all-pervading. Vasanas are also all-pervading. Vasanas are more pervasive than space. Space is there during waking and dream state, because mind is there. In deep sleep, there is no mind. Therefore, no space, concept of space or time. But there is vasanas. And there is, of course, Atma. So now we have to do reflection and eliminate vasanas. Because Atma is something beyond vasanas. Tanuhu. It is stable. It is achalaha, immovable. See, movement is possible only from a place where it is to a place where it is not. And there are two types of movement. Movement from one place to another, movement in one place itself. The mind doesn't want to stay in one place. It moves from one place to another. And even in one place, it is attached and it's terribly distressed, agitated. So it's not the space, it's not the mind, it's not the, vasanas. But how do we know that it's not even the vasanas? He says, Sanatanaha. Sanatanaha. It is beyond time. Even in these four, we don't know whether it is vasanas or not. So he gives next to shloka, 25. There you will know. These three shlokas, 23, 24, 25. In 24, he eliminates what? That it is not space that he's talking about. Now, in 25, he'll eliminate that it is not vasanas that he's talking about. So, Atma is eternal, meaning you are eternal. You always exist. Other things come and go, but you, the Atma, always exist. And you, the Atma, is all-pervading. And you, the Atma, is stable, immovable. It is not the mind. Mind moves from one to another. It cannot stay in one place. Even if it stays in one place, it will be fidgeted, it will be agitated because of its attachments, desires. That's why mind is compared to monkey. The biggest cage in the zoo will be of the monkeys because it can't stay in one place. Keeps on jumping. And even if it's in one place, it'll be, scratching, etc. This is our monkeys. So it's not mind also. Then it's sanatanaha, ancient, puranaha, beyond time. So beyond time can mean Atma as well as vasanas. Because the concept of time is not there in deep sleep. When I was in school, in English, we studied about Rip Van Winkle. It's supposed to be, that story, this guy, he sleeps for 20 years. 20 years he sleeps. And he wakes up after 20 years. And then he is seeing a completely different world. When you wake up, you know how many hours, how many years you slept. But when you are in the deep sleep, as far as you are concerned, you have no concept of time. You understand? You do not have the concept of time in deep sleep. But in deep sleep, vasanas are there, Atma is there. So now we have eliminated space. That when he said weapons do not cleave this, fire does not burn this, water does not wet this, wind does not dry this, it is not space that he's talking about. Then now there is still doubt possible. Could it be vasanas, my innate natures? Is that me? So he says, no, even that is not you. That he eliminates in the next shloka.
अव्यक्तोऽयमचिन्त्योऽयम् अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि.
This is said to be unmanifest. This is inconceivable. This is unchangeable. Therefore, knowing this as such, you should not grieve. Avyaktaha, achintyaha, avikaryaha. This is said to be unmanifest. Unmanifest means what is available for your senses. Sorry, manifest means what is available for your senses. But this is indriya agochara. This is even beyond the indriyas. That's what everything that you can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, feel, think, these are manifest. Now available, contacted by your senses, mind, intellect. But Atma is not manifest. So it is unmanifest. Now vasanas, are they manifest or unmanifest? Vasanas are also unmanifest. When they manifest as thoughts, desires, actions. So vasanas per se are also unmanifest. So when he gives this pointer, that Atma is avyaktaha. It is unmanifest. Then still the doubt can be there. Could it be vasanas? Then he says, no, it is achintyaha, inconceivable by your intellect, obviously. You cannot conceive Atma by your buddhi. So then, could it be vasanas? Because vasanas can also not be, strictly speaking, conceived. You cannot, strictly speaking, define vasanas. No. When you say vasanas, is a fragrance, innate nature, temperament, etc., etc., etc. But why we do this? Because buddhi belongs to the subtle body. It comes from the causal body. So the product is intellect. The producer is the vasanas. The cause is the vasanas. So it's even subtler than the buddhi. So buddhi cannot understand vasanas, strictly speaking. What it is. It cannot define it. It cannot conceive it. You see the thoughts, from that we say it should have existed. Proceed like that. But strictly speaking, vasanas are also inconceivable. Then he says, this is unchangeable. Now, this is the interesting thing. Avikaryaha. Vikara, avikare. Means this is unchangeable. Vasanas can be changed. Vasanas can be eliminated also. You can change the vasanas. You can eliminate the vasanas. That's what we've been discussing, right? God or Atma plus vasanas equals human beings. You, me, all of us are what? Beings are all nothing but vasanas and God. God plus vasanas. So what do you have to do? When human beings remove vasanas, reduce vasanas, get rid of all the vasanas, then what? They will be God. They would have reached their real self. Human beings minus vasanas. So vasanas can be changed, vasanas can be eliminated. So when he says it is unchangeable, then it is not vasanas. It is even beyond vasanas. See, this is the beauty. I told you, no, the tradition, Agama tradition, the way they impart this knowledge, because you cannot directly talk about Atman. Anything you talk about is not Atman. Kena Upanishad beautifully says, it is not what you see, but what makes you see. It is not what you hear, but what makes you hear. It is not what you speak, but what makes you speak. Now, if that is the case, whatever you are seeing, hearing, speaking is not the truth. You don't know about it. You don't know what it is. It is that which makes you speak. It is that which makes you see. It is that which makes you feel, think, talk, everything, speak, listen, everything is enlivened. The enlivening concept is Atma. Enlivening principle, not concept, is Atma. So therefore he says, that doesn't change. It is unchangeable. Whereas vasanas can be changed. If vasanas cannot be changed, then what are we doing? We'll be stuck. You have developed vasanas by constant, unintelligent, unconscious thought flow. Indiscriminately, you keep on sending your thoughts towards something, you develop vasanas. Now you have to get rid of it by constant, conscious, discriminate thought flow towards something higher. Then the existing vasanas die away. So therefore, vasanas can be changed. They are changeable. So it is neither manifest nor possible to be conceived. It is you yourself. It is even beyond the vasanas. So you are neither the causal body, nor the subtle body, nor the gross body. So what? The tradition helps you to negate thus. Slowly, slowly, the kind of identification that you've been having with the body, mind, intellect, it removes by teaching you, by educating you. So you negate the non-self, and what remains is the self. So that's what he's talking about here. So beautifully he eliminates, you see, at the gross level, it's not space. Then it's not even vasanas. Then what is it? You don't know. You can't talk about it. Even if you realized, even though you have become the self, you cannot communicate it to the other person who doesn't know it. How can there be a communication possible between a conditioned person and an unconditioned person? Somebody who is conditioned by alcohol, let's say, and he is lying next to the gutter and saying, hey, this is my house, this is my house. And you are unconditioned by alcohol, you're sober, you're telling, hey, yaar, this is not your house. I know your house, you have much, superior house there, you're sitting lying next to the gutter and you're saying, this is your house. Hey, at last night, this is my house. You cannot communicate to that fellow. So therefore, there's no way communication is possible between a person who's conditioned and a person who's not conditioned. This is the problem. So, strictly speaking, even though the masters are realized, they cannot communicate directly. So, they follow the indirect method. They explain to you about all the things and beings that you are attached to. And once you gain the knowledge, what happens? You drop it. But mentally you drop it. Now, supposing you are holding on a pot and inside there is this charcoal that is really hot, and slowly that heat is transferring itself to the pot's surface. When the heat becomes too much, you cannot hold it anymore. Nobody needs to tell you, drop it. When the heat becomes unbearable, you will immediately drop it. This is what he's trying to do. By teaching you all this, through Arjuna, to all of us he's teaching. He's telling, you cannot be affected by any of this. Why are you wasting your time? All the time. When we chase, because our life can be summarized in acquisition and enjoyment. That's all we are constantly chasing. We want to acquire and we want to enjoy what we have acquired. And we should live continuously to continue to enjoy. So somehow I must protect myself. So I think if I get more and more wealth, I can somehow, protect myself. I can live in ICU at least for a long time. They'll keep me in ICU for a long time. So all our efforts, what is it finally? Finally what? To postpone death. We are not living life. We are fighting with death. We are dead even before we die. Isn't it? Why should I die before I die? This is a stupid way of living. That's what he's saying. It's a very, very stupid way of living. So, do not waste your time thinking that you are this limited self and then try to protect it. That doesn't mean you start doing things to destroy it. Let it continue. Upanishads also say, may you live 100 years. The students pray, I should live as much as life that is given to me. And I should use this life to gain the self. Nothing else. Instead of wasting your time in other things, start living. All that Vedanta is saying is start living. You've not even started living. You may be 50, 60, 70, you've not started living. That's why in the Kena Upanishad he says, Yacheda veti gata satyamasti. Achediha veti mahati vinashti. If you have understood the message in the Vedas, you live complete life. Otherwise, you waste your life. It's a complete waste, he says. Nashti means loss. Vinashti means great loss. Mahati vinashti, he says, means supreme most great loss. This is the problem. By thinking that you are this limited individual, you don't live your life totally. But by understanding the truth about yourself, you begin to live your life. So instead of having opinion that Vedanta will take you away from living, you are having ulta. You should understand that it is not that which will take me away from living. It is something that will make me live totally. Only when I began to understand Vedanta, I begin to live. It's true. You just need to pause and think. You don't have to accept whatever I'm saying. You think, you ask for yourself. Isn't this true? That I'm all the time fighting with death, indirectly, directly? Am I ever living? What am I doing? Is this worth living like this? You should ask such questions. So these three shlokas, 23, 24, 25. He says, you are that Atma which is indestructible. It is neither space nor vasanas. It is even beyond all this. There is nothing in this universe that can destroy you. See, when you go to watch a movie, you are sitting in the movie movie theater which is air conditioned. So the screen also, if you go and touch the screen before the movie starts, it will be cold. And when the movie starts, and let's say in that movie, there's a scene where there's a huge conflagration. The whole village is on fire. Whole village is on fire. So you think the screen must be hot now. Because there's fire projected on the screen. You go and touch the screen. Will it be hot or cold? It will be cold. Because the theater is air conditioned. Similarly, anything that will happen to your body, mind, intellect, nothing will happen to you once you understand this. Not understood, then anything that happens to that body, mind, intellect complex will happen to you. You can do nothing about it. And then to prevent that from happening, we do all kinds of things. I'll temporarily help, but it will not help permanently. So we will be having that stress all the time. So therefore, Vedanta says, instead of trying to change the world, change yourself. Then do whatever you want in this world. And you will live life, then you will actually live your life completely, totally. That's all. So therefore, he says, therefore, knowing this as such, you should not grieve. That's how he concludes. This is said to be unmanifest. This is inconceivable. This is unchangeable. Therefore, knowing this as such, you should not grieve. He started in verse number 11. He said, wise people do not grieve, but you are sitting and grieving. Why they don't grieve? He explains. He's concluding it here. First topic from shloka number 1, second topic from shloka number 11 to 25. Second topic is shloka number 11 to 25. He says, in this, you are indestructible. Indestructibility of the embodied. That's the topic. Indestructibility of the Atma. You are indestructible. I am indestructible. There is nothing in this world that can destroy us. So forget about it and begin to live. That's all he says. So throw away the grief. To understand all these shlokas, from verse number 11 to 25, 15 shlokas, deeply reflect. He's giving various pointers about Atma. What is Atma? What is Atma? Nitya, Sarvagata, Aprameya. It is Ajaha. It is Amritaha. It is unchangeable, Avikaryaha. It is Avyaktaha. He goes on and on. All these various pointers he gives for us to understand about ourselves. He is introducing ourselves to ourselves. Just understand me. Just by understanding, your life changes tremendously. Tremendously. By wrong understanding, you're wasting your energy here. But by developing the right understanding, you will be in joy, you will be in bliss, you will be living your life completely. So, you must go back and reflect all these shlokas, 11 to 25. All these classes are being uploaded. So you can listen to them, in one by one order. And then you think about it independently, what he's been saying. Throughout the Gita, he'll repeat this concept in many places. Now, Arjuna will continue asking from different angle. So he'll repeat. It's not that, he's told and he'll say, you forget about it. He'll repeat all these things again and again in different ways. So that till you say, "Arey, I got it here, I'm fed up now, leave me," he will not leave you. Till you say that. Till you change your opinion about yourself, he's not going to leave you. That's what he'll do. So, we have concluded this topic today from verse number 11 to 25. Right? Go back, listen, and then next week we will do the next topic. We'll begin the shlokas from the next topic. Let's conclude. And after we conclude, if you have any questions, you can ask. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.